Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I'm your host, Amy, joined with my co host and friend that I was just thinking is going to be my soon to be married friend.
I am.
Soon to be married friend, Jenna.
Wow, did you just call me Jenna?
It's so funny.
Have you literally ever called me Jenna?
I know. I was on vacation for a few days and I was talking about everything. Sorry, my hair looks crazy and I can't focus. I was talking about the pod and stuff, or I mentioned it, and my friend said, "What is Dom Jen's actual name?" I was like, "Oh no."
That's actually really funny.
I know. I was like, "Yeah, she has a name." And
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's so funny.
What am I going to do with this?
It's funny that you say that though, because I was thinking about how I've actually never met that, like the two. I don't know if you say their name on here or not, but
Yes, you have.
no, never. Never really in person.
We literally went with drinks with Sarah last year.
No. Okay, I'm thinking of two other friends then. I was thinking Keisha and Joey Lynn. I've never.
No.
For some reason, I thought I just remembered you were not with them.
I was like, yeah,
isn't that weird?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interessante.
How was your trip?
It was lovely. We went to Puerto Rico. Every year we do this trip with me and these two friends. One's a mom friend and one also is childless like us by choice. And we have done, like, every year we just try to like get away and do stuff. And we went to Puerto Rico this year and it was lovely. The weather was amazing and so good and much needed. Lots of alcohol. There's actually this hysterical story, and since we're here, I should tell it. You'll die at this. So It's the last day and we were supposed to go into Old San Juan, but we got into the pool and we started having a drink at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh my God, this is great. I'm on vacation. Like, I don't want to go walk around and do touristy things. I want to be a bum and like hang out in the pool and see the sights. And this is the sights that I'm trying to see right now. So we're sitting there and we're telling like some God knows what stories. And we start saying the name Jimmy. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm telling a story about a Jimmy. And I'm like, never met a Jimmy I didn't like. The name Jimmy is always a good time. And in the meantime, there's this guy and his kid next to us, and the little girl's at the bar. And the mom comes over and is like taking a picture. And we're like, oh yeah, we'll get out of your way. Like, oh my God, yeah, such a cute picture. Your 3-year-old daughter at the bar with dad. Ha ha ha. Oh, we were at the swim up pool bar. For clarity.
I figured.
Yeah. So we're sitting there and we're like, yeah, never met a Jimmy I didn't like. And my friend Sarah was like, yeah, I hated Jimmy. Jimmy made fun of me. And the Jimmy I knew made fun of me for not having boobs in high school. And screw Jimmy. The Jimmy. So the guy goes to get out of the pool and the wife is comes in the pool. Like, they like take turns with the little girl who's at the pool bar. And you obviously know where this is going. She turns around and he's like faced backwards walking away. And she goes, Jimmy, wait. So obviously his name was Jimmy. After we had been sitting there the whole time, like making, and we're like, oh my God, of course his name's Jimmy. I mean, he looked like a Jimmy. And he comes back and is that my phone doing that or yours?
I can't hear it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. He comes back and is like, hey, he comes back and must have said something to her. And she's like, she then like makes a joke like, oh, I hated Jimmy's too up until now. Anyway, it was funny. They were from Boston, of course.
Honestly, I thought you were going to say that it ended up being someone from like one of the Jimmys that you knew growing up. I was like,
no.
Of course, that's how this would play out.
No. It was more that I knew that the guy's name was Jimmy, and we were like, oh my God. So yeah, that was that. How have you been? How's wedding planning going?
I mean, it's like not like I'm not planning anything. It's just, at one point I was like, I'll wear a different outfit for dinner that night. And even that, I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with that. I just don't. I said to Kyle yesterday, I was like, wait, so people just like do this? Like so they get a dress and then they get it fitted, but then they go back for like a second fitting. Like, who has
Like
the fucking time?
4 fittings.
And I'm like, so people just keep paying for this stuff. Just
I mean, and
for
like
the
you're
utility
paying for like
for them.
2 things. Imagine like
I just don't
paying
get
for a fork, a knife, a napkin, and a tablecloth and
I
a cup.
literally can't, like, my brain is not allowing me to, like, I can't, I don't understand the point, I guess. Like, I truly am like, if you're just like in love with the person and you just want to get married, just go fucking get married. Like, what is it? Why does it have to be a show that you're paying
Yeah.
for? You're literally putting on a pony show for other people that you
For
don't
other
even
people.
want and get to hang out with when you're there.
Are
I'm
you
baffled by the whole wedding of it all.
thing? I mean,
Baffled. I
preaching
just
to the
feel like
choir here.
it is truly a scam.
Yeah. It's a
Like,
whole
we even
industry.
tried, sorry, this is a small tangent, but I was like, I had mentioned to a restaurant, and I kind of knew this was going to happen. Like, I've worked in the industry and I've done events before. I had like met, it was still only 15 people. They had a room for more than, or 14 people for dinner, like the night of the wedding. I had said like this many people, they immediately, and I was like, yeah, like I said something about wedding, and I was
Oh
like,
God.
going to play out.
Never.
Offers these 2 rooms that are 3 times the, if it's the 3 times amount of people that I would need. So it's like, why are you even offering me that? Tells me the price, and I go, great, can I make a reservation for 14? She said, great, no problem. And I was like, this is wild. This is wild.
Stupid. Yeah.
Like,
So is that
a birthday party or a get together moving forward? Like, don't say wedding and you don't have to pay for it.
Where are you doing the dinner?
We're just going to like an Italian restaurant in North Beach that we love.
That's
And
fun.
it's like casual. Like, at first I started looking at fancier stuff, and then like we kept circling back on that, and we were just like, why do we even want to do that? Like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I feel like there's like moments where we get pulled a little bit by like the supposed tos, and then very like we'll stew on it, no pun intended, for like I don't know, 20 minutes to 2 days, and be like, nope, go back to original plan. Like, everything we've done has circled back to the original plan in some way.
Good.
And I love that we keep fooling ourselves thinking we give too many, like, any fucks about how this is going to play out.
But I also think it just shows that you guys are on the same page. Like, that's great.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll give them credit people who can, I don't know, plan a wet. I don't even know. It feels like you've been tricked, frankly. I don't know if I should give you credit.
When I was planning weddings, and I worked for a catering company, like when I say that we would literally, as the catering company, like let's say you rent a venue and it's a plain venue and you have to bring in all your catering. You are paying for every knife, every fork, every glass, every napkin, every linen, salt and pepper shakers,
Oh
like
my God,
things you're not even thinking about.
Shaker.
No, because you're not thinking about it. And it's so funny when friends would ask me like, oh, I found this cute venue, but nothing was included. I'm like, it's cute now. Wait until you start getting that pit. Wait until you see, like, it's not that cute. It's not that cute.
And it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, wedding. There's like, I have like 2 or 3 weddings in my head that I'm like, okay, that was like a blast. But like, for the most part, I don't ever really walk away from a wedding being like, great night, like best night of my life.
Yeah.
You're like, it was good.
Yeah, it's more like depending on who's
they're kind of boring.
there.
Yeah. There's like the awkward dance situation that always happens where they're like, I don't know. I just am not. It's not
the awkward. Oh my God.
I can't. It's
the
not
awkward dance situation.
Like, why are we all on it? Like, everyone's looking at the dance floor and it just feels a little weird. And it's like, come on. And you're in your seat and someone has to come over and get you. And you're like, yeah, let me just grab a drink real quick. Like, I have to have the drink in my hand. The whole thing is so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. And then there's weddings where you're not allowed to have glassware on the dance floor.
This would not work for me. I would have to sit at the table. I would find someone in the room who's interested in Bravo and say, girl, let's sit. Let's chat. Let's not do what's happening out on this dance floor.
I'm trying to think. The most fun wedding I've ever been to was my friend who had hers in Florida. So it was like 4 days of partying with the wedding group.
Yeah.
And it was a smaller crowd. And then the other wedding that was my favorite was actually my ex-boyfriend's, and they had the Philly Fanatic.
Oh, that's fun.
And there was like 300 people there. It was a There was ice shot luge. It was like it felt like a club. The dance floor was like a club because it was jam packed. Everybody was on the dance floor, and the Philly Fanatic got things going. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess my
Speaking of,
cousin was definitely like when I was
yeah,
in my cousin's wedding.
I remember that.
That was New Year's Eve. It was so fun. Like I think about
Yeah.
that night kind of like not all the time, but like probably like once or twice a year. And I'm like, wait, how do we go back there? Like woke up, my dress was just in the middle of my kitchen floor. I was like, oh my God, expensive.
I forgot that you even got home that night.
Oh my God. And then the next day had to be like, it was the mummers parade. So had to be up, ready to go, just popping that Adderall, ready to rage. Oh my God, what a day that was, huh?
That was so much fun. I remember that day.
Yeah.
What a day to be alive.
Oh, I guess
speaking of Philly, but the parade was last Friday.
I know. I was so jealous, honestly. I was like really sad that I wasn't there.
So Meek ended up going down.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He met up with my brother and one of our childhood friends, and he said it was insane, but just like it was everything that, yeah. He said the crowds were more intense than they were in 2018. But he said it was just like the vibe in the city was everything, and like everything you could imagine and all that good stuff. So
I love that.
I know.
Well, I'll be there in a couple months and it'll be great.
And they'll be waiting.
They will. Do we want to, so we do have, I guess we should have a guest coming on in a little bit here.
Yeah, we're going to have a special guest that we'll introduce you all to. Coming on, Chef Stu from Don't Let It Stew, the podcast. And we'll be talking Bravo, pop culture, all that good stuff as I continue to mess with my hair because it's driving me crazy. So, yeah, let's talk about the Summer House premiere. There are so many thoughts on this.
I think Jesse's going to have a rough go at it.
I just feel like Lexi is she's just so, I feel like she's so much younger than the group of girls, which I guess isn't like, she said she's 27, but she's giving me like 24, 25 energy, and she just feels like a different generation.
She must, because even Sierra was like, I'm only 28, so I can't really say anything, but I feel so much older than them. And then you think about like how old the rest of the girls were when they came in, around the exact same age. So it's like, that what's happening is that everyone else is just staying on the show and they're aging through the show. And then they're still bringing in people at the same age that they typically did bring the rest of the girls in. I think Kyle and Lindsay came in a little older, but yeah, I mean, the rest of them are, and I guess Carl, but yeah, they are young. But wait, hold on. The new girls, have you seen any of this stuff on Reddit? Or any lines about them?
I don't think so.
I guess they were like, so there's all this stuff about Maddie, is that her name? Or Bailey?
Bailey.
Okay, so I guess they like maybe for the rest of the season. I don't know. They were like, why did they?
Oh yeah.
Up? But I was like, what are you talking about? It's only been one episode. How do you even know that? So I don't know if it's like people from screeners or just blinds that have come in. But I guess what happened is like Bailey was caught talking shit on the rest of the cast and basically being like, I don't like them and blah 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 blah. Continued to film, and I guess like kind of gets cut from the show. Lexi was also heard talking shit about them. Like, it's like, why are you coming onto the show and then talking shit about the whole cast, acting like you don't, like, of course that's going to get out. Everything gets out.
Oh, I also wonder, like, what were they saying? Because that hasn't been said.
Yeah, they didn't really say, like, I didn't see what was actually said. It just was like, talking shit. And like, I guess it got back to a producer.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the other thing with like Lexi is, I guess she comes for Sierra.
No, go ahead.
Go about
watch.
And I was like, I bet this was the moment. I mean, I have no idea. We haven't seen the season, but so Jesse and Lexi obviously start hooking up. I mean, it's the writings on the wall, but
it also was like all over every blind, and like you would have to live under a rock.
When he asked her if she's a ditz, I was like, Jesse, do less.
It just
But
gave you such an insight into how he rolls and
I know.
like how he is kind of a tool bag.
Yes, exactly. I was like, this is I can like almost hear it and see it playing out, and like that's the guy I'm laughing at the bar. Like
100%.
like no, you are the guys that we
And then
joke about as like, oh my
and
god, can
then
you imagine?
Lexi's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "No." I
I
just
know, it was a
her
lot.
vocal fry, we should count how many times I say the word vocal fry over the next few weeks of watching her because it's already like, "Oh my god."
I
It's a
can't
lot.
believe you can watch the Kardashians and hear
I know, I was thinking about it as I was watching them
Kourtney's is
yesterday.
really,
Oh.
really bad.
Oh.
Okay, but yeah, so I feel like once Lexi comes for Sierra about it seems like it's regarding Jesse, like she's saying like she doesn't trust her with Jesse or whatever. I feel like that's when Jesse was like, "Oh, let's pull back a little bit here. Like I'm not like no,
You're crazy.
this is too much. This is too much."
Mm. Also, the way that Jesse, I have to say, the one thing that I did like about Jesse is how every girl that walked in, he was hyping them up about like how beautiful they looked,
Yeah.
how nice they looked. Jesse's a great friend to have if you're a girl.
Yeah, for sure. A hot girl, for sure. Honestly, like the cast of Summer House is just like unbelievably good looking in a way that almost makes you feel like, "Ugh, can we get like someone a little bit more relatable on this damn show?"
Oh my God. I just keep
It's kind
thinking,
of a
like,
lot.
I say it every time, but like, I'm obsessed with Sierra. And like, as her friend, you could not catch me dead. Like, you think I'm going to sit next to this beautiful 5'12" woman who has a body that's built like a ship
It's
brick
5'12",
house? Like,
not 6 foot, by the way.
I know it was a joke.
God.
It's called humor. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like I would never ever take a picture with her. And I say that like is the biggest compliment ever.
Really. We
Ever.
were watching Traders the other day. She was doing like one of her confessionals, and Kyle just is like looking at the screen, and he just goes, "I love you," and I was like, "It's not the commentary I
She
normally get from a guy like you."
and I feel like she's also just super cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Summer House for me is my favorite episode or like favorite
franchise.
franchise that we're watching right now. Lindsay announcing her pregnancy the same night
Oh my
that
god.
Lexi's in the house. I just felt like we were watching like poor Lindsay looks like this old maid compared to Lexi, who has like a piece of napkin on as her top. And Lindsay's got like her blazer, has this full speech.
Her pants are
Um,
going undone. Like
her right. Like I just felt bad for her having to make that like
I
in a
did think
way.
Jesse's reaction was a little weird. Like I think that you could just be happy for her. I don't know
Whoa,
that we
whoa,
need to
whoa.
be thinking
Let,
about.
let's talk about that.
I don't
This
understand.
whole thing where everybody in their confessionals were talking about her timeline and like, oh, she was pregnant for 4 months, which means she was with the guy for 2 months. And
Like, who cares?
she's not a teenage bride. Like, this isn't,
Yeah.
she's in her late 30s and this is all she's ever
Also, it's
wanted.
not
Like,
like it wasn't planned. I mean, she got back with this guy, she had sex with this guy, and boom, a baby happened. And like she of course was not going, she was of course going to have it. This is all she wanted. So I'm really confused about doing the math
so,
for the timeline. I just don't really find that it feels irrelevant. Like,
it's
no, you
so
have to wait for
irrelevant.
the girl. She got out of a relationship that was not working, was messing up the entire vibe of the house. If anything, everyone should be over the moon. I loved Amanda's reaction. She
Oh,
was just
loved.
so touched and was so genuinely happy for her. She was kind of the only one who was not doing the math.
Yeah, I really, the math to me at that age, I just, not to sound like an old lady, but like she broke off an engagement. What is she supposed to do? Sit around and like twiddle her thumbs?
And
We
like,
all know Lindsay has a timeline.
yeah, and she's even let that go expire. That timeline has expired. So she's,
100%.
she had to be on top of it.
That was
Yeah, I
so
thought that
weird
was
to me too.
really in poor taste.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
like it.
even our girl Sierra was doing it.
Oh,
Yeah, I just didn't love
yeah,
that.
that's fair.
Yeah.
What did you think of the way that they entered? Like, I felt like Amanda was coming back. We got that vibe. Paige again, like the friendship. I, for some reason, the way Gabby lives in Lindsay's asshole makes me uncomfortable.
I think that's what she's here for. Like, I think she's serving the it was
Lindsay
like they
ally.
didn't know. It sounds like they were gonna bring like, Gabby has somehow managed to stay on this show, and I'm actually not even mad at it because when she is around, it feels a little calm, like, she's,
Mhm.
like, not the one to be in, like, the mess of it all, so it's like you kinda know if she's on screen, things are gonna be okay for a moment,
Yeah,
and without Danielle, it's like they had to give Lindsay someone, like, they couldn't.
that's true.
Like, they have these other girls who are genuinely, like, best friends talking about, Paige, Amanda, and Sierra, so and we don't always know how Lindsay is with these girls.
Yeah,
Turns
yeah,
out
yeah.
it was great. They probably could have even done without Gabby, but I think Gabby is this sort of, like, middle one that just kinda keeps things a little
That's
bit.
it. I like that take. I think too that we saw them all in bed again. Sierra, Paige,
Yeah.
Lindsay, and Amanda. And I loved seeing that like, okay, hopefully this is going to be the same dynamic. The girls are going to have a good summer. And I felt so bad for Carl at the end when he was coming in and he went back to producers and was like, I'm kind of freaking out. I think
Yeah.
that was just really honest of him to say, like, this is going to be hard. This is because he had found out the night before. Like, imagine finding out the night before, because I'm thinking of how this is all playing down. I was out in Long Island that exact weekend, and I remember texting you, like, oh my God, when we broke the news, it was right. Like, she announced because she did
Mhm.
it at night. Um, and then he had to hear that, take a full day, and then, like, again, he said, imagine the text messages I was getting.
Yeah. I guess I kind of forget that, like,
Carl's
he
there.
could be hurt in the breakup
Right.
in any way, sort of, which is so unfair. Like, of
Yeah.
course, a breakup is a breakup, and they were friends before that. I guess, I don't know, it just they were so mismatched that
Mm.
I feel like it's so great that they're not together and that he would only see it that way, but no, I guess, of course, there's feelings involved, and there's, like, it's like when you see any
Yeah.
ex or previous thing, it's like even though there's no sort of like there's nothing and you know that there's nothing and you're not really bothered by them, but like there's like a moment of like, eh,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
small bitter.
A small jitter. And I feel like they're gonna be friends. I just can't
He did
see
say happy
that
birthday
Carl.
to him
Yeah. I
this
just
year.
think that it seems like they will be fine. I feel like we see some scenes where there was animosity, and, like, even me as a viewer, I'm like, "Oh, it's fine, Carl. Don't stress about walking in."
Yeah,
Bravo was a little shady with the edit of, like, keeping that sonogram on that.
I know.
I just
I
yeah.
love when they do the producer stuff, when you see like off scene kind of
Yeah.
conversations, like quick ones or whatever. I always really enjoy that because it's like, yeah, there are producers there. They have like spots to stand and film and this and that. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it in real life, and it's just it's not cute.
Yeah.
Um,
What about West? Are we still mad at West? How are we feeling about West?
I oh god, I'm gonna say it. He's just so charming that you just
Is
are
he? Is
immediately forgiving him.
Oh, interesting.
The fact that he was, like, sweating it out made me be like, "Okay, I forgive you."
I'm trying.
I'm such an
Okay, so like how old is he, you think? Like in his
I think he
late
said he 28, 29.
yeah. So it's like I'm not mad at him about the Sierra stuff really anymore. Like I'm not holding on to that. I just am not finding him charming anymore. And I don't know if it has any like it's not necessarily from what I saw on this episode, but I think I'm so annoyed by like I hope I don't get hate for this, but like the Brianna chicken fry girl is like annoying the shit out of me online and she keeps coming up in all my stuff, like my For You stuff, and it just feels so much, like it feels like a lot and it's like nonstop. And then her and the West like making out and them like kind of like the way that they're like talking about it to tabloids or whatever. I mean, they're being asked about it. It just feels
Yeah.
so clout chasey, I guess. Like it feels like
I mean, Brianna Chicken Fry does not need to clout chase for West. She's done way. I mean,
no,
West might want to.
I'm not saying that's why she's doing it. It just both of them individually feel too online or something, like too wanting to be in the media all the time, that it's turning me off a little bit.
Well, West is one thing.
Yeah.
Brianna Chicken Fry is like something totally different. And it's funny because that was what they were upset with West about at the reunion. They're like, you basically said that you are more concerned with being in the fame of it all than like pursuing a relationship because you don't know how this is going to work out for you in the end.
And he really is. And like, it's like he didn't take that moment to reflect at all. And I just wish he would have been like, how can I still chase the clout without coming off so desperate for it? Like he feels really thirsty to me for the
and it's weird because I don't think you get that vibe from anyone else. I mean, I don't.
Way, right? No, and we haven't actually really on like maybe a little more, I would say like, I'm trying to think even like, could that have been on Southern Charm or Vanderpump Rules? Like, have we seen
Vanderpump Rules? Absolutely. Sheena, like,
yeah, like,
on.
And like, that's so nice, but it feels like a different beast. It kind of feels like everyone's a little thirstier there in general. Like, I feel like it's not cool to be that thirsty in New York City.
But the other thing is a lot of these people were mini micro influencers before they were brought on. So they had a little taste of it. I actually don't think West had any, like, wasn't that at all.
Right? Yeah, he was just like a sports journalist, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I find the thirst to be really, it has nothing to do with even Sierra. I just find it to be really off-putting.
I'm interested to see how it'll play out. Like, I think he's going to sit up and from everything I've read in the blogs is that like he's going to sit up and or like come up and just like shut up the entire time.
I kind of feel the same way. Like he's going to have sort of a demure season, if you will.
Right.
Jesse's going to kind of take the lead on, don't worry, Wes, I got you. I'm going to be
the summer. I'll ruin it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see what happens with the season. Yeah. We actually, I know we said in the beginning of the show, but we are so excited because we have a special guest with us today. You might know him as celebrity Chef Stu, or from his podcast, Don't Let It Stew, also on the Hurrdat Network. Welcome to the show, Hi. Chef Stu. How are you?
Good. I mean, that was a bit of a fuck up on my part. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh my God, no.
We're breezy.
I'm like, here's the thing. And like, I'm going to say this. Maybe you guys can help me because I was like, you know, I'm not getting an assistant. Like, that's not happening, right? Like, it's just, I can't afford it. And it's just not fucking, we're not going there. But why is it so annoying to add anything into a calendar? Like, why do I have to go through 4 steps? Like, okay, what's the event? What's the time? What's the date? Like, why do I have to change that every time I hit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, I think it's annoying to do it from, I use my work calendar, Outlook, old school, old lady style to schedule everything. Cause I also think the Gmail or whatever it is so confusing. And if you accept, it doesn't always show up on mine.
No, it's like,
don't worry,
color code
too, so
yeah,
we've had some issues over the
we
time.
Always
turns out 3-hour difference is not that easy.
No, I mean the difference is fine. Like, I mean, like that's like a lame excuse if you don't know that, if you can't count the hours.
Well then, Amy,
we're terrible at it.
That's us.
No, it's just a thing now. It's like when I schedule something or someone's like, "Hey, do you want to meet next Tuesday?" I'm like, "Put it fucking in the calendar, not right now."
Always.
Don't be like, "I'll do it later." That's my problem. That's what I do.
I live by my calendar. Yeah, but we're happy to have you here. Does everybody call you Chef Stu, or is it ever?
Stu. Like a lot of people call me Stu, like kind of like they're like that. Like
okay, like, awesome.
This is the first time I'm using my new sign.
I love it. We need to get a sign.
I have a big one in my living room, and now I'm in my bedroom, and I have a small little one here, and it's so cute because it just fits in the frame.
In the frame, that's amazing. Well, welcome to Bonded by Bravo, Chef Stu, aka Stuart O'Keefe. Thank you for being here. We have so much to chat about today. We know that you like to get into like pop culture stuff. I also saved some fun questions. We saved some fun questions for you at the end. Just, little, if there's any celebrity dish that you can give us from your celeb chef days, all that good stuff. But did you watch the Super Bowl? I don't know if you know this, but me and Jenna are both Philly gals through and through, born and raised. Right. I'm in New York now. Jenna's in San Francisco. So we were rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. So was I. My ex-boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend is like fans of them. Like he's like Steelers, but like when the Eagles were in, he's like, go Eagles. You know what I mean?
We'll take
Pittsburgh guy. We could take that.
Yeah.
So were there any pop culture moments that stood out for you? I mean, obviously Kendrick Lamar's.
I'm not like a Kendrick Lamar fan, but like I kind of am now.
Okay.
This is what I'm hearing.
I'm addicted to watching that one song he does, like where he calls out Drake's name, like that whole little dance thing, little shift. Like
it's so
cute. And then I'm like, fuck. And then of course, like the next day I went on, I'm like, where's those jeans from? I'm like, they're Celine. Like, that's not happening. I'm like, can we get like a Gap kind?
Well, did you see that people said that they were Celine, but really they were his fiance's old American Eagle jeans, and that they weren't actually Celine?
I was on a podcast yesterday with Zach Peters and with her. He was saying like, is he gay? Is Kendrick Lamar gay or no?
No, he's
not. Okay.
Fiance, kids.
Oh, okay, great. The whole spiel, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Those jeans. He's tiny though, right? He must be.
I think he's like 5'8".
Yeah, I know.
I know. This is so.
I was in London this summer. Let me tell you this. I was in London this summer. I went to see Taylor Swift at Wembley, and I was there for 4 nights. I mean, it was the best $3,500 I ever spent. Like, I got 4 nights, and no, listen. I got 4 nights. I got first class there on Virgin, a $900 ticket for Taylor, and a hotel for $3,500.
Whoa.
$100 on clothes and shit, but like that was like extra, you know what I mean? But
it's actually not bad compared to what.
No, it wasn't. I was like, I haven't been to London in 20 years. I'm going to see Taylor. I get to hang out with my best friend from Ireland like for 4 days. Great, I'm going to do it. But I went shopping at the Levi's store, and then there were. Do you know that whole time the women, or they're still around, girls have like, it's called the boyfriend jean.
Oh, I have so many pairs.
Okay, great. So I was like, because it was like this baggy look that the girls were wearing. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I know guys kind of have that. I totally went on. I was like, hey, what's the largest size of the girl's boyfriend jean you have? And like he searched, it was skin tight on me. Like, but I tried it.
You tried it.
Wow.
I have a feeling that flare jeans, like that's what I used to wear to the club when I was 20.
They're coming back, aren't they?
I was going to say, I have a feeling they're going to come back.
The only thing is I saw this meme and it really hit. It was like, girls, do not forget how wet the bottom of those jeans would get if it's wet outside. It was like the whole thing is soaked. The whole bell bottom is soaked.
I mean, could you imagine in Ireland?
No.
Raining all the time?
Oh my God.
And the dirt?
Yeah, no.
I just saw a post today that said Ireland hasn't seen the sun in 10 days.
That's 10 days.
Yeah.
My friend Shane, he's like, I'm going to fucking kill myself.
What part of Ireland are you from?
Tipperary, southern.
Okay.
So think like you fly into Shannon, Limerick is right Shannon. So I'm like 20 minutes from Limerick.
Okay.
So airport, like 40 minutes.
My friend is from County Clare, which I think is also down there. Yeah. Well, I know that you talked a lot about the Blake and Justin feud. Can you give us like a high level? Because we made a pact that we weren't going to get into it on the show because we were like, I can't follow it.
Much.
It's giving too much. And then there was like the SNL thing that happened this weekend. Did you see that with Ryan Reynolds, who stood up and Blake looked a little surprised? High level, whose team are we on? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, just tell us.
So right now, I feel like they have lost the game. Like they've lost the fighting court. So now all it's about is, can we keep our name in Hollywood? Like fuck the court case. We don't give a shit about it anymore. Like that's why they did the joke. And then also I listened this morning to somebody on, it was like an interview in Australia or something, and there was a producer or the card holder person in SNL, and they said it was Ryan Reynolds' line. It was his idea.
That he said, what have you heard?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And that wasn't the original joke.
It's like you could almost tell in Blake's face that she was like,
she was surprised.
Oh, you think she wasn't, or she was? I thought she was. Yeah, same.
I feel like she was. She was like, why the fuck are you making fun of this? This is sexual harassment that I'm claiming this guy did, and my husband's joking about it.
Oh,
and his lawyer. I think Justin's lawyer has since said, like, I'm shocked that he used that or that he did the joke, because now I guess in some way they could use it in court.
But also, you know what the guy said is about another person on this other woman on TikTok. God, you get so much information out of that. She said, if you don't think that Ryan Reynolds is trying to save face now because of her, they're saying like, oh, he's trying to save his name in Hollywood right now. Fuck hers. Like that's what, and it was kind of like a cool take on it that I never went down that hole. But I'm like, but think about it. Husband and wife, you love each other, blah, 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 whatever. And like
that's
he kind of threw her underneath the bus. She's in this massive lawsuit.
Yeah.
He's the star. She became a star because of him, right?
That's
and her friendship with Taylor. I feel like those two things combined is what sort of elevated her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gone. Taylor's like, I'm out. It's like, you know what I mean?
What are your thoughts on that, actually? Do you think that really happened? Like, that Taylor is really putting some distance there?
I definitely do. Yeah.
You do?
I absolutely do. Going off, like, Taylor's songs in the past and Bad Blood and all that kind of stuff, like, I think she really hates when people kind of take advantage of her.
Yeah.
And she does, and it's sneaky and behind her back, and she doesn't like it. And it just seems like, look, those two, like, you know, Candace Owens, I saw a thing this morning, like, she just called Ryan Reynolds like this, like, super narcissist or whatever she said. And it's kind of like, it is kind of narcissistic qualities, what they're doing. It's just like, double down, gaslight. We didn't do it. We heard this. They'll never take responsibility, these two, ever. You'll never see it. No.
It's such a bummer.
Go ahead, Aim.
No, I just think it's such a bummer. And like, for lack of a better word, you know, this could have been a great opportunity for a female to lead and direct a great movie, put her name behind production. And the reason that I didn't want to get into it was because of the Harry Styles and the Olivia, what's her last name? Olivia Wilde. I was like, I don't want to take down another woman, but it seems like they are really in the shit with this.
Their evidence doesn't check out. Like, Justin like released everything. He's like, here's the website, here's the text message, here's everything. And the fact, and I feel like we've kind of lost this, but we need to bring it back up. End of the day, like, he was at his own premiere with a fan in a wheelchair that he flew in to see the premiere, and she banished them to the fucking basement. Like, and he still was like, it is what it is. But he didn't even let that ruin his moment. He was like, I'm going to be all smiles in the basement. Other people have said he's the nicest guy on set and other things that they've worked on. Like, this is, but the thing about it is with me, it's like, okay, why are you doing this? Is it really to take him out or to take him down so they can get the fucking prequel, like, movie rights or book rights? This is what this is all about.
It does feel like, what is the point? We do have a friend that worked with Ryan Reynolds and said he was the worst person that he has ever worked with. Just a total
allegedly.
I mean, not he had that experience.
So. You just always. I just want to say allegedly.
My ex-boyfriend. I need to be very clear when I say ex. He's a stylist. He does a lot of commercials and so forth. And he said he was on set with him one day, and he said he's a fucking douchebag.
I mean, douchebag, definitely. Like, I feel like you just get douchebag. And he's probably
nice when he says that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting.
I mean, he ruined Welcome to Wrexham. I don't know if you guys have watched that, but he ruined that entire show because it was documentary style in the beginning, and then he came on and everything became a bit. And it's like, wait, does everything have to be a bit? And then Rob McElhenney started doing bits the whole time, and then it just kind of got unwatchable. It was like, okay, I've had enough of this. This is too much. I don't need my entire show about this soccer and this town to be a bit.
You're right. Like everything's a fucking bit.
Yeah,
like,
and it just is like too much.
Just
like shut up.
Yeah, like, he's always doing the actor voice. The like,
for me, like, so it's like, okay, it's done. And then, you know, the Deadpool thing, and then he's making fun of Justin and the Deadpool movie, Nice Pool, whatever it is, and then he gets killed outside the flower shop. Like they hate him. Like they have this vendetta against this Justin. I think they're super jealous of him. I think he's cool as Christmas, the guy is. And that voicemail or whatever, that voice note, it was a voice note, not a voice message that he sent to Blake, you know, he was just like burning smoke up her ass to calm her down. Like, that's all, you know, I mean, it's crazy to me because like me and Zach talk about it all the time. Like Zach has gotten like nearly 200,000 followers from it. Like he's such a specialist in this whole thing. He's the guy you need to talk to. And he's just like, it's wild to me, like with all the evidence that people are like, you need to leave her alone. It's like, guys, come on. Like, look at what's being presented. I'm not taking sides. I'm taking sides of the facts. That's what I'm looking at. Of what's been released. That's all. I actually I like him in movies. Yeah.
Oh, this is I feel like this is a good update for me and you, Jen, because we have stayed so far out of it because it got so messy. So thanks for catching us up to date.
It's really confusing.
Really confusing. But now I feel like I can pick a side. I love picking sides.
Speaking of,
just go to Zach Peter on Instagram or TikTok and just follow those videos. He will bring you right.
Zach Peter.
Yeah, and his reels.
Okay.
Love that.
Well, let's get into a little bit of Bravo. So what show are you watching? All the shows? How up to date are you? Same.
I'm up to date. Like Housewives, I'm good. Bar a few.
Okay.
Don't watch Summer House.
You don't.
Traders I watch. Love Traders right now.
Okay, you don't watch Summer House, but you obviously heard about Craig and Paige.
Correct. I did, and I feel bad for him.
Okay.
Oh, okay, tell us.
I just feel like when I saw him and like he just comes across very genuine that he's hurt.
He's definitely hurt.
Yeah. I don't know anything about her, so I don't want to like say anything about her, but she chose to break up with him, right?
That's what everyone is saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is what happened. I think she's even sort of said it, hasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah. I thought that his little Watch What Happens Live and his view, like that event that he did with Tamron Hall.
I didn't see the Tamron Hall interview yet, but that was yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah, and I've seen clips of that, and it was just, I just think it's like to do a full press tour about this is kind of just a little embarrassing. I'm just getting a little bit of the ick for him.
Is there not? Is he promoting anything?
No, that's the thing. Like it literally is a press tour for the breakup.
Here's what I say about that. Like, if she broke up with him, which you're saying she has said it, right? He's heartbroken. He's probably like, fuck it. I might as well just milk it as much as I can. Get people to feel sorry for me. Maybe I'll get some deals. Maybe I'll get some endorsements. Maybe like people, you know, like the thing, it continues the story for him, right? It continues the story, keeps him in the public eye. People want to see now when they come back to, is Summer House, is it back on TV right now?
Yeah, and Southern Charm is currently airing, which is the show that he's on. So it's like, I guess he could argue that he's promoting that show, but usually it's not a Tamron Hall. It's Watch What Happens Live, or I mean, really, it's just sort of Watch What Happens Live, and then maybe like reality blurb or the interviews with like Bryce Sander, but it's never Tamron Hall, like a daytime TV show.
And they'll go with the story, bring them on, and that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said you were watching Traders. I know Jenna is deep in that. I've watched the first few episodes and I've never gotten into it before, and I am fully hooked.
Okay,
so good.
I never watched the other seasons, and I know Dolores well, and so I was like, I have to watch it because Dolores is on it. So I'm like, great, at least I know somebody that's on it, so I can like be like, go Dolores, and I know Bob Harper as well. So I was like, great, I know two people, I can watch it. I love when I just know people on a show.
Yeah,
Just,
right.
oh, it's great. I love Celebrity Big Brother too. I think it's such a great show. It's so fun to watch. Like the tasks and the challenges and all those, they're kind of like just shitty. Like they're just I kind of fast forward those because I'm just like whatever. Because like there's no kind of drama in those tasks, you know. They're just kind of fun little pieces. But Danielle, she posted like a tweet or something today. Did you see that?
No, I don't understand. I'm watching the show and I'm yelling at the TV like, why are we not getting her out? How is she still here? I just don't understand it. I don't hate her. I just
feel like she kind of
don't know why she's still there. What was that?
I feel like she kind of messed up. And like, you know what I mean?
That's why I'm just like, how come I guess I just don't understand how they haven't banished her yet. Like or voted her out yet. I'm really having a hard time. I feel like all the clues are there. And of course I'm saying this as someone who's watching the show. I'm not in it, but it feels like they were onto her early on in the season. And then somehow she kind of keeps like skating by even as she has mess ups along the way.
I mean Carolyn's mess up with Alan Cummings. What was he wearing? I thought that was insane.
It was actually, I was kind of impressed with Sam for bringing that up. He doesn't really say that much, but I was like, oh, he makes a really good point about like remembering the outfits.
Yeah. The mistake he made though was fucking saying it to everybody. He should have just been like, just kept it like, oh my God, like Alan was wearing this thing. It's like, or like there could have been a cooler way he could have done it later on.
Okay.
To kind of catch her out.
And then instead of putting everyone there and now everyone's kind of in on what he's
was like, like yapping, like, oh, leave her alone. Like, who cares? Like, it was kind of like she kind of got lost in it, which was good for her. And so Tom Sandoval kind of had her back, which I kind of like.
Can we talk about Tom Sandoval?
I was just going to say, what's going on with Tom Sandoval? Because all I'm hearing is like the girls are rallying behind about how big of a moron he is.
He said at the round table, he's like, well, you know, like girls are better at cheating. And everyone was just like, what are you saying? You were the most villainized human for like 3 years because of a cheating scandal.
Oh, I meant traitors. They're better at traitors. I mean, you know what I meant.
Wait, that was a great impression. The way that he's like, dude, and he just like throws his hands up all the time. Oh,
I think he's going to go far though.
I do too.
Because people aren't going to.
He's paid his dues. He fucked up. Paid his dues. Yeah. Everyone hated him. Like, leave him alone. Like, let him.
Oh, please! I disagree. That man, but that's okay.
Here's the thing. Like, that thing what happened with him and Ariana, like that shit happens all the time in everybody's lives. Stuff like
that.
Very true. Happens. And it's like I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be him. Because no, what he did was a fucking dumbass thing. It was so stupid. Like it was so bad.
It also just like goes to show. Yeah, but it also like goes to show how stupid he is, and I think it's kind of wild that Ariana even was with him for. I mean, not even to go all the way down there, but
a long time ago.
Yeah,
they were done a long
that
time
vibe
ago for the show, and that's why I was kind of like, everyone needs to calm down with the reactions of this. Yes, what he did was like awful, but guys,
it was a long time coming.
Anyway, like they probably were just done. You know what I mean?
We all know what that type of relationship is like, where you're kind of just like going through the moments. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Are you now? There's been this breaking news of Teddy Mellencamp, and this she's had brain tumors that had to be removed. The last update I saw was that Tamara was there yesterday praying, and her, ex-husband, I don't officially know if they are divorced, but I don't think so. I think they're separated.
What? Like Eddie, right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
What? Like, she got tumors removed. I believe there's 2 left. Is that right?
Oh my God, I didn't realize that. I thought
they're doing radiation on the other 2. That's what I believe.
Whoa.
But then I spoke to people yesterday and they were like, I'm not too much in it. Like, it just kind of makes me sad. The whole thing does. But
Yeah.
they were saying like, like that it's like terminal, but that hasn't been said, right?
It hasn't, but that's actually interesting, Stu, it's interesting you're saying that because I was surprised, and obviously we hope this is not true, but I saw Tamra's post really caught me off guard, like the tone of it. The way that Teddy had spoken about it to me felt like again, you're posting to the world. How do you post these things to the world, etc.? But it didn't seem almost as serious. But again, we're talking about brain surgery and tumors and radiation and all that. So sending prayers to her.
Someone told me yesterday my ex was on his radio show and he was talking about it. And he was like, I want to go see her and stuff like that, which is really nice. And then Chris Leminkoff was like, yeah, I want to go too. And then he says like, yeah, we can all get drinks afterwards. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Oh God. I was just like, don't tell me he said that. And my friend was like, yeah, he did. I was like, oh, Jesus. Okay.
Is this the ex that we know about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So speaking of the ex that we're not talking about, I have questions just because I like to be a little shady sometimes. Now, I want to know, how did you manage to get Megan and Heather in the breakup?
Here's the thing. Like, I've always been friends with Megan. Before, like, I went on that show to promote my cookbook with Amy Phillips, the Cook It, Spill It, Throw It. And Amy got us on the show because Amy had a show on SiriusXM at the time. And so we all went on and it was great. And I'd never listened to his show. I didn't. I watched Flipping Out like a bit, like, through the years, like sometimes like I'd binge it on a Sunday or something.
Yeah.
I'd watch it or whatever. And so we went on, and then like I kind of was like, oh, who's this person? Who's that person? I was like, oh, Megan's. Then I kind of started listening a tiny bit, and then he called me and he's like, hey, come back on. You were quite funny. The people liked you. And I was like, okay, great. Like, and then I went on with Megan, and I really liked Megan. I really got to know her. So then I would like meet Megan like for lunch or stuff like that, like before me and him ever started dating. Right. So I always liked Megan, and Megan she just always kind of had my back, like through like fights or pauses or whatever you call them. And so, and Heather always liked me. I think she liked me Irish, and she thought I was kind of funny and like whatever, right? And she was like, oh, I think you're like, you're great for him and this, that, and the other. You're so funny, and the two of you are a good match. I was like, great. Like, and so we always stayed friends. And so the thing about it is, it's like we genuinely liked each other. And I always liked Brandon and Julie as well. And we'd all go out to dinner, and that was it. And it's just unfortunate that the three of them or the four of them are no longer friends with him.
Right.
And so like, well, and I'm not in his life anymore. So it's like, fuck it, we're just all regular people now. We're all just friends.
Right. And so you kind of run and correct me if I'm wrong, but in a way, like being in podcasting, being in Hollywood, it's like a small community.
Yeah.
Are you able to avoid each other? Are there times where there's like,
I'm not like at like things that he goes to or anything like that, but like before I met him, like I was in with the Housewives. I wrote the cookbook with Amy. I was doing Amy's radio show all the time. I didn't have a podcast. Hurrdat Media reached out to me about the podcast because there was a woman that would listen to me, or like the wife of someone that works at Hurrdat would listen to me on his radio show and was like, oh my God, he's really funny. You should reach out to him. Maybe he would like be funny on a podcast. And my friend came up with the title of this a year prior. So I was like, well, let me keep that in my back pocket. Like, I'm not going to do a fucking podcast. Like, my ex has a radio show. I'm like, that's just weird. I always thought that. Then enough time had passed. And then, Pat reached out to me. He was like, look, I think you'd be fun. Like, whatever. I was like, okay, well, look, let's give it a go. Let's tape one or two, see how it is. And we'll see, can I even do this once a week, like with my schedule and stuff. And so that's kind of how it came about,
Love that.
I mean,
do you love it?
I do enjoy it. Yeah, I do really, really enjoy it. Like, I love cooking. I love doing that. And that's like, I love doing videos, and I'll always love that. But like I watch a bunch of like pop culture. I love like Bravo. I love the Housewives and love talking about them. And because I did that cookbook, kind of got me involved in that kind of universe.
And so again, I'm the shady one and I want to know. So you have been celebrity chef. You're talking about a lot of the housewives, you know, some folks. I want to know a celebrity horror story, even if you can't name the person. Like what has been, well, I guess number one, I should say, have you had a bad experience chefing for a celeb? And none, there's no way.
I did a party. I'm trying to think, like, was anybody just like awful to me, rude to me, or anything like that? Like any celebrity that you guys would know of? I mean, I've had like instances of just clients just being horrendous, but celebrities. I mean, a funny one is like I went. It's a couple. One's a big movie star, and the other one's like she had a big show in the 90s. Got to do with a lawyer or whatever, and it's a woman. You'll know it.
Okay.
I'm like
attorney and like you know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So I did this dinner party and I didn't even know they were going to be there. And we get there and I'm making the food up to 3 or 4 course dinner or whatever it is. And everyone's in pajamas. Everyone's high as a kite.
Like weed high?
No, weed high. And I'm like, they're not even eating their fucking dinner. They're all getting in cars and just driving home.
Oh my God.
Wasted high. I'm like, oh my God. And it was in the hills. So they probably all lived close and buff. So like they're probably like, there's no cops up here. And
yeah, but there's a lot of hills.
Yeah, there are a lot of hills.
Like I had a thing with Kris Jenner once, like years and years ago. I did something out of their house. And then she wanted me to come and cook for her at the house. But like I remember the phone calls with her and she was so funny and she was nice and stuff. But it was like, let's just say the money was not there for me to go to Calabasas every single day. It just wasn't. It just was like, I feel like it was more like, I'm doing you a favor, and you'll kind of get more out of this than I will. I'm like, no, I still have to put gas in my car, drive out to you, cook for fucking 6 people every day. I'm like, no, I said, I would love to, but I wouldn't be able to pay my rent. It's like,
what years is this early Kardashians or like more?
This is like Bruce years.
Okay.
I mean, they had, please, but still.
She was really nice. I think that's just like, you know, she's a businesswoman and that's it.
Yeah,
like I wasn't like mad at her. And I was just like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, it's just unfortunately I can't do that. I'd love to though.
Yeah.
She was fun. She was fun.
I feel like I could see is like, and a good dynamic between the two of you also. Like that would be fun to see.
Like when I went out to the house and like Kylie and the two younger ones, Kylie and the mother. Kendall and Kylie, they were there. They were like, I know, like 12, 13. This was like 2009.
Old house.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know what house this is.
Yeah. That was fun. And another one, I cooked for Cindy Crawford's birthday once in Malibu. And I didn't even know she'd be there either. See, a lot of these people hire you and then they don't tell you that there's big A-listers going to be there. So that makes sense. Nicer because it takes the pressure off too.
Right.
So nice. Like really, really nice.
That doesn't surprise me. She gives off like such light energy.
And just like I remember just like doing like working in the kitchen. I was with my friend Brianna at the time and we were like and the kitchen was like stunning. It was one of the most beautiful kitchens I've ever worked in. And I was like, I know my head was down, like focusing on work, whatever it was. And then I heard this voice. I'm like, hey, do you know what the ice is? I'm like, yeah, it's right there. I just was so rude. Because I was like involved and and then I turned around and looked up and I'm like, holy shit. Like you see that like beauty mark and you're like, fuck. And I was like, no, I'll get it for you. I'll get the ice. Don't worry. She was so sweet. She came in, she thanked me. She's like, that was the most delicious short rib I've ever had. And they ate everything. It was awesome. It was cool. There were some cool moments as well.
Do you watch Below Deck at all?
On and off.
On and off. I'd be curious just like your take on some of the chefs that come on that show. Because they're all like, there's just like this thing about chefs now, especially watching that show, that they're all just ready to go off the deep end at any given moment.
They're loaded up with so many tasks to do. And there's one, like the thing that is crazy to me on that show is there's one chef and they don't have a sous or they don't have a helper or anything. It's just like one and done. And they're cooking for what? People? It's
plus and the staff. Like they
Yeah.
have to make staff meals too, which is insane.
No, I've done that in France before, like in year 3 in culinary school, and it's like breakfast, lunch, then you have to make the staff meals, and then you have to do the dinner, and then you're working. It's full on 16, 17-hour days. Like,
no wonder they're all on edge.
I would do it like if they just say like if Captain Sandy called me, if I did just or says like, hey, I know this guy, Chef Stu, he's gonna fly in for the week. He's gonna cover us for one shift. I would do it for like a one and done.
Got it.
That would be so fun to watch. That would be
fun to watch.
Because I did like Private Chefs at Beverly Hills on Food Network like years ago, and it was that vibe of just in the hot seat, like the producers would fuck with us. They would take like ingredients out of the fridge, and I'm like, wait, I bought 12 chicken breasts and they're not in here. Well, what would you do? You forgot them. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Oh God.
Way that you forgot them. And what would you do in a situation like this? I said, well, I'll get in my car and go to the fucking store and buy them. They're like, well, you can't do that. Like, that's not an option. You have to improvise. Then you like raid their kitchen and try and figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Oh my God. Also, would that be you as the chef, Kate Chastain as the chief stew?
Yeah.
We've
Oh my gosh.
as although Captain Glenn could be a little bit more fun. Sandy as the
I like Sandy.
captain. Oh my God, what a time.
What a time.
Yeah.
Okay, you talked about being a Swiftie. I know we're almost at our time. You talked about being I'm assuming you're a Swiftie considering you went to Wembley and
I have 3 posters like in the living room. It's embarrassing. I have the Eras book. I went VIP. I've seen her 3 times. I saw the Eras tour 3 times.
How did you get your hands on her cocktail recipe? And can you give a taste of it to our listeners?
The cocktail recipe. Oh, it's a Saint Germain. Isn't there like
there's gin?
There's
How did
gin.
you find that out?
How did I find that out? So somebody posted about it.
Okay.
I think because she would always like have it at like the Chiefs games or something like that in her cup.
Oh,
Like, this was her drink that she loves and that she has every time, something like that.
Got it.
I think that's
I thought everyone was saying it was a vodka cran for the longest time, but I guess not.
No, there's grapefruit in it. There's Saint Germain in it. Is there a Midori in it? I don't know. I haven't posted somewhere. I think I posted.
You did. That's where I found it, and I was like, "How did you get the inside scoop?" But love that. Yeah. Tell everybody where they can find you, Chef Stu.
Everybody can find me on my website, chefstu.com, on Instagram, TikTok at Chef Stuart O'Keefe or Chef Stu. And Don't Let It Stew. I do a podcast weekly. It's not.
When do your episodes drop?
It's called Don't Let It Stew. The episodes drop every Tuesday.
Amazing.
We're doing 1 a week right now. We may go to 2 a week. I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah, it's been fun. I've been doing it for over a year now, and I enjoy it.
Amazing. I put a guess in our chat. Can you see that? I want to know if my guess of the Hollywood A-lister and
that is correct.
Well, that's fun. That was a good one. Chef Stu, thank you so much for being here. For our listeners, we are so excited. This week, we dropped our merch on our link tree on our Instagram page. You can now buy Bonded by Bravo merch. We have a sweatshirt up there, a hoodie, a beanie, a hat. I think we got a mug. But buy our merch. Share and listen and like us wherever you find your podcast at Bonded by Bravo, on TikTok and Instagram at Bonded by Bravo Pod. And we'll be back next Thursday with an all-new episode. Thank you, Chef Stu.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.